The rain had been falling since dawn, streaking the windows of Miller's diner with silver lines that blurred the world outside. Inside, the clatter of dishes and the low hum of conversations filled the air, but Emily barely noticed any more. Her apron was damp, her shoes were soaked through. Her smile, the one she wore for customers, had long since turned into muscle memory. She had been at this job for almost 6 years. 6 years of 12-hour shifts, lukewarm coffee, and the same chipped counter. 6 years of pretending that everything was okay when, really, she was just one bad day away from walking out and never looking back. That day had finally come. It started that morning when her babysitter called in sick, leaving Emily to scramble to find someone to watch her 8-year-old daughter, Lucy. Her ex-husband hadn't sent child support in months. The rent was due next week, and the car had started making a sound that screamed expensive repair. By the time she got to the diner, 30 minutes late, her manager, Carl, was waiting with that look he always had, disappointment mixed with authority. "Emily, this can't keep happening," he said, folding his arms. "I know. I'm sorry," she replied, trying not to sound as desperate as she felt. "Lucy's babysitter? I don't want excuses," he cut her off. "We're short-staffed. Just try to keep up today." She nodded, biting her lip, and grabbed her order pad. Inside, she was already breaking. By lunchtime, the diner was packed. Truck drivers, office workers, a couple of regulars at the counter. Emily moved between tables like a ghost, present but invisible. She dropped off coffee, smiled when she remembered to, and ignored the sting in her feet. At table 6 sat an elderly man Emily had seen before. Always alone, always quiet, always polite. His name, she remembered, was Mr. Jensen. He ordered the same thing every Thursday, black coffee and a slice of cherry pie. Today, though, he seemed to be watching her more closely. When Emily returned with his order, he smiled kindly. "Rough day." She gave a tired laugh. "You could say that?" He nodded, his gray eyes soft. "You know, I used to manage a small team before I retired. You can always tell when someone's carrying more than they can handle. You've got that look." She tried to smile again, but her throat tightened. "Guess I'm not hiding it too well." Mr. Jensen chuckled. "Most people don't even try to notice anymore." "You remind me of my daughter. She worked hard, too hard, until life knocked her down a little. Sometimes you just need someone to tell you it's okay to breathe." Emily blinked back tears. "That's kind of you to say, but breathing doesn't pay the bills." He nodded slowly. "That's true. But neither does giving up." She forced a weak smile and walked away before the tears could fall. By 3 o'clock, Emily's back ached and her patience had run dry. A customer at table 9 complained that his fries were cold, and another snapped his fingers to get her attention like she was invisible. When she went to the break room to grab a breath of air, Carl was there again, scowling at the schedule. "You're staying late?" he said without looking up. "What? I've already done 10 hours today," Sarah called out. "You're the only one available. You'll cover until close." "Carl, I have to pick up Lucy by 8, then find someone else to get her. I need you here." Something in her cracked. She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She just nodded and turned away. But in her chest, a quiet voice whispered, "This is it. I can't do this anymore." Evening fell, and the rain turned into a steady drizzle. The diner emptied slowly until only a few late customers remained. One of them was a young man sitting by the window, probably mid-20s, wearing a business suit that had seen better days. He looked tired, like he'd been fighting his own invisible battles. He ordered a simple dinner, a burger and coffee. He was polite, said thank you every time, and left a small tip. Nothing unusual. But when Emily came to clear his table after he left, she noticed something folded under the coffee cup, a small handwritten note. She frowned, glancing around. The young man was gone. She unfolded the paper. Inside, in neat handwriting, were just a few lines. "You may not realize it, but your kindness matters. I came in here tonight ready to give up. Your smile, tired as it was, made me stay a little longer, reminded me that people still care. Thank you for being the reason someone didn't quit today." Emily stared at the note, her breath catching in her throat. For a moment, the diner disappeared. The noise, the rain, the exhaustion. Her hands trembled as she reread it again and again. He was ready to give up, and I stopped him. It felt impossible, but real. She slipped the note into her apron pocket, and for the first time in weeks, she smiled. Not the mechanical one she gave customers, but a real human smile. That night, as she walked home in the rain, the streetlights reflecting on the wet pavement, she thought about what those words meant. You reminded me that people still care. Maybe it wasn't the world that had stopped caring. She had just stopped believing it did. When she reached home, Lucy was asleep on the couch, her math book open beside her. Emily brushed a strand of hair from her daughter's forehead and whispered, "We're gonna be okay, baby. I promise." The next morning, Emily went back to work. For the first time in a long while, she didn't dread it. She taped the customer's note inside her locker, right where she could see it every time she opened the door. The week went on, then a month. Something shifted in her, small but steady. She started talking to customers more, sharing smiles that actually reached her eyes. Carl noticed it too. "You seem different lately," he said one morning. Emily just shrugged, smiling. "Guess I remembered why I started." 3 months later, a letter came in the mail addressed to Miller's Diner, 18, Emily Brooks. A year later, Miller's Diner closed down. The owner retired, the building was sold, and the regulars scattered elsewhere. But on the same street, a new cafe opened, a cozy place with warm lights, mismatched furniture, and a chalkboard that read, "Welcome to Lucy's Place Coffee, Comfort, and Kindness." Behind the counter stood Emily. Her hair tied up, her apron spotless, her smile bright and genuine. She still kept that first note framed on the wall by the register. Under it, in careful handwriting, she had added a line of her own. "A kind word can save a life. Pass it on." Every morning, she brewed coffee for tired souls who wandered in, strangers, workers, single parents, dreamers. Sometimes she left little notes on their napkins. Every time she saw someone struggling, she remembered the night when she almost quit, and how one stranger's words turned everything around. Years later, when Lucy's Place became one of the town's favorite spots, a reporter asked Emily what made her open a cafe built around kindness. She smiled, her eyes misting a little. "Because someone once reminded me that even when you feel invisible, what you do still matters. Kindness doesn't need grand gestures. Sometimes it's just a smile, a note, or a moment that keeps someone from giving up." The reporter looked around at the cozy cafe filled with laughter, the smell of cinnamon and coffee, and nodded. "Looks like you built more than a cafe," he said. "I built hope." Emily chuckled softly. Maybe hope was always here. It just needed someone to believe in it again. That night, after closing, Emily sat by the window, watching the rain fall, just like it had that first night years ago. She took out the old note from David, still folded neatly, the ink slightly faded. She smiled and whispered to herself, "Thank you for reminding me." Outside, the world kept moving, busy, noisy, uncertain. But inside Lucy's Place, the light of kindness burned steady and warm. And in the quiet hum of the cafe, a small truth lingered in the air. Sometimes it doesn't take much to change a life, just a few words, spoken or written from the heart. This story reminds us that our small actions can have a massive ripple effect we may never even see. You never know who you might be saving with just a simple act of kindness. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it today. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that warm the heart. Until next time, take care.